Old Man Withers lived at the edge of town. He kept to himself, rarely seen by the townsfolk. He had a creepy old house with an overgrown garden and broken windows. People said it was haunted, whispering tales of ghosts and strange noises at night. Billy had always been curious about the old man and his mysterious house. One day, while passing by, Billy saw something strange in the window. It was a dollhouse. It looked just like Old Man Withers' house, down to the tiniest detail. Billy felt a chill run down his spine, a mix of fear and excitement. He had to know more about this eerie dollhouse. One afternoon, Billy gathered his courage and approached the house. He knocked on Old Man Withers' door. The old man answered. His face was wrinkled, his eyes suspicious. "What do you want, boy?" he rasped. Billy swallowed hard, his heart pounding. "I saw the dollhouse in your window," he said. "It's amazing. Could I see it?" The old man hesitated, his eyes narrowing, then with a slow nod he stepped aside and let Billy in, the door creaking ominously as it opened. The inside of the house was dark and dusty. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. The air was heavy and still. It smelled like old books and something else, something faintly sweet and unsettling. Old Man Withers led Billy to a small room. The dollhouse sat on a table in the center. It was even more detailed up close. Tiny furniture, miniature paintings on the walls. It was perfect, too perfect. Billy reached out to touch the dollhouse. A jolt of static electricity shot through him. He jerked his hand back with a gasp. "What was that?" he asked, his voice trembling. Old Man Withers just grunted. "The house doesn't like to be touched," he mumbled. His eyes darted nervously toward the dollhouse. Billy couldn't shake off the strange feeling. He started having nightmares that felt all too real, as if something was watching him even in his sleep. The dollhouse was always there, watching him. Its presence was unsettling, almost as if it had a life of its own. He told his best friend Tom about the dollhouse and the strange energy it seemed to hold. Tom listened intently, his eyes widening with every word. "My grandfather told me stories about Old Man Withers' house," he said. "The tales were always chilling, filled with mystery and fear. Legend has it that the house was cursed after a fire killed the entire family who lived there. The tragedy left a dark mark on the town's history. They say the only thing that survived the fire was a dollhouse, a perfect replica of the real house." Billy's eyes widened with a mix of fear and curiosity. A terrifying thought struck him. What if the dollhouse was more than just a toy? What if Old Man Withers' dollhouse wasn't just a model? What if it held the spirits of those who perished in the fire? What if it was somehow connected to the real house? The thought sent chills down Billy's spine. And what if the fire wasn't an accident? The mystery deepened, leaving more questions than answers. Billy and Tom decided to investigate. They snuck into the local library and dug through old newspapers and historical records. They found an article about the fire. The article mentioned a strange coincidence. The fire started in the nursery, right where the real dollhouse had been kept. But the dollhouse was missing, never found. Billy and Tom looked at each other. They knew they had stumbled onto something big, something that connected the fire, the dollhouse, and Old Man Withers. But how? They decided to confront Old Man Withers. He had to have answers. They went back to the creepy house at the edge of town. This time, they were ready. Old Man Withers was waiting for them. His eyes, though tired, held a glimmer of anticipation. He wasn't surprised to see them. It was as if he had been expecting this moment for a long time. He invited them inside and led them to the room with the dollhouse. He seemed sad, tired, and burdened by memories. "I know why you're here," he said, his voice raspy but gentle, carrying the weight of years gone by. "You want to know about the dollhouse," he continued, his eyes reflecting a deep sorrow. Billy and Tom nodded, speechless. Old Man Withers sighed, a heavy sound that seemed to echo in the small room. "This dollhouse," he said, gesturing to the miniature house, "belonged to my family for generations. It was a gift from my great-grandfather," he explained, his voice tinged with nostalgia. "Legend has it he built 2 houses, one real, one miniature," he said, his eyes distant as if seeing the past. "He bound them together with a powerful magic," he added, the words hanging in the air like a spell. He paused, lost in thought, the silence filled with unspoken stories. "The dollhouse is a reflection of this house," he continued, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Whatever happens to one happens to the other," he said, the gravity of his words sinking in. He looked at the boys, his eyes filled with regret and a lifetime of sorrow. "I was playing with the dollhouse when I was a boy," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I accidentally started a fire in the nursery," he said, the memory clearly painful. "The magic, it reflected into the real house," he explained, the boys' eyes widening in realization. Billy and Tom were stunned. They finally understood. The dollhouse wasn't haunted, it was something far more tragic. It was a tragic reminder of a terrible accident, a symbol of a past that couldn't be changed. Old Man Withers had lived with the guilt for far too long, a burden that had aged him prematurely. They decided to listen to his full story, determined to bring peace to the old man and his haunted past.